Hi guys, I am Melly. You can find me over on IG at Melly-Mini-Vertical. I often do interviews with different vertical actors and actors, well, hopefully actors. I've only done with actresses. So we're gonna turn it over to you, Shannon. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shanna Seno. I am an actress. I specialize in like vertical series. I don't know. That's about all I got.
I'm gonna go right into the first question.
Oh.
Something fun we should know about you, either personally or acting wise.
Um, okay. Something fun about me acting wise is I've realized that every vertical I do, I have a different coffee order. And I realized it was an accident. I didn't even know that I was doing this, but it's like I'll start craving something and then that's the same coffee I get for the entirety of the shoot. So like sometime like accidentally I was just like, I don't know, in character getting coffees. I think it just whatever I had the first day is like what would get me in. So like the one that just came out today of mine, Goodbye Husband, every single day I was getting an oat milk vanilla latte iced from Alfred's specifically. So that's fun. I'm a
So
coffee
you
fan.
you gave me the perfect option to ask you, what was your coffee on My Beloved True Gentleman? Because I know you did a lot with Casey, but that's my favorite.
Oh my gosh, I love that one. That one was that one was filmed in Kansas City, and in the Midwest and like South, there's this coffee chain called Seven Brew,
Mm-hmm.
and so every day I got the iced cinnamon roll latte with oat milk from Seven Brew, which that one's like
Oh.
cinnamon shortbread and white chocolate flavored. It was I decided that Lila was she liked a sweet coffee. Oh, and it was so good. It was so good.
Oh, that sounds so good. So, a little fun fact about me, my great grandfather was actually caught for bootlegging. So, the funny thing is to watch that one, it's one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's actually the only vertical of mine that my parents have watched all of. Cuz some of them are just like they're a little too spicy for me to let my parents watch. But that one isn't too far. It has like a good amount of spice, a lot of storytelling. That one's the one. Any of my friends who've never seen a vertical, I tell them to watch either that one or Fight for Love because both of them have the vertical elements, but they're not like a vertical drama. Like they have a mix of stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I was looking at your IMDb and I was like, I did not know she did like three with Casey. I probably watched all three of them, just not putting it together. My other favorite one is the one that you did with Ryan Ray Vincent because
Oh,
that just gave me like Samantha Stevens, Darren Steven vibes all across the board. Just you two.
oh my gosh, that one was so fun. I love a rom com. Like that's my favorite thing to shoot at heart. I like when they have a little bit of drama, but then it's mostly comedy. And that one, Ryan did so much like improv
Mm-hmm.
of like jokes and stuff. So then we were able to play off of each other. And then Gordon, the child actor we had on set, Gordon Mudd, he's so wonderful. But then he started doing improv with us too. Like he learned how to do improv on that set, and we all had so much fun.
Oh my god, to be a child on those sets, they must learn so much.
There was one where there's like one moment where, so like he's supposed to be walking away, and he's like, you better cook mommy dinner or else. And so then he starts being like, you better cook mommy dinner or something really bad's gonna happen to you. And then he would do this and walk away. And he did something different every time. I'm like trying not to laugh back there, and his mom, Rena, and I are looking at each other. And then Ryan, I can see the fear in his eyes. I'm like, don't laugh. Because he was like playing with the improv and having so much fun. So whenever we wrapped that shoot, Gordon
Mm-hmm.
gave us all little like personalized notes, and like he put them on the back of a headshot. So like his headshot's on my fridge at home.
That is too cute.
It's
I
so
love
He's like,
that.
who's this child, Shanna? And I'm like, that's Gordon. I worked with him.
I love that. I love that the children get to have like a really fun time with you guys because
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot. And like I see you guys post your TikToks and IG stories and whatnot. It's like the kids just are just there having a ball. And they're just running around playing, doing different games, and it looks like they're having a really fun time.
I know. It's every child actor I've worked with, I've just had such a lovely time with.
Hmm.
And
And
it's
some
fun how much they
some
learn.
of them are so good.
Hmm.
Like so good.
There's some she just did her first few, but her name's Harlequin, very talented. Be on the lookout for a young, she's like 10, dark hair, bright blue eyes. You'll
Mhm.
definitely notice her. She's very talented. I'm excited to see her do more stuff.
I love I think her name is Scarlett, the little one. She's like 3 or 4 or something. She might be a little bit older and she's done a couple with Eric and stuff, but she's so cute when she like when you see her just behind the scenes, the BTS, she's just playing around with the guys, giving them bracelets, like Taylor Swift bracelets and all of this stuff, and it's the cutest thing ever.
So sweet.
What is a skill you've always wanted to learn?
I actually just posted this on my Instagram today. Recently, I've decided I want to learn how to do a handstand. Um, I know it's a lot of strength. I'm gonna have to work hard, but that's not something I've always wanted to learn. But that's a recent thing. But something I've always I want to learn how to like box, like actually fight. I know it's easy, and I should take not easy to learn, but like it's easy to find a class and take it. I just need to do that. But having that skill set and that strength and the confidence in my ability to defend myself would be very nice. Because I'm just a little lady living in LA, and that can be scary
Oh
sometimes.
yes. Oh, I know all too well that type of life. Um, I it's so funny because when I was little, I can't do handstands like on the floor or on the sidewalk or anything. But I used to annoy my mom so horribly because I would run towards the couch and do a handstand on the couch. And I was like balanced against the wall, and she's like, "You're gonna break my couch."
I can do a headstand against the wall. That's my starting point right now. Is that I can do that. So time to start doing some shoulder presses, and I'm gonna get there. By the end of 2026, I'm gonna post a video on my Instagram of me doing a handstand, and I'm determined.
You better tag me in it. I'll repost it for you.
I will. I'll be like, look, we talked about this on our TikTok live stream. I finally did it.
What's a movie you could watch every day?
Uh, Finding Nemo or The Princess Bride. One of those two. They're both very good movies. I love them to death. And it's like they just make you feel good. I love Finding Nemo. When I was a kid, I could quote that movie by heart. We would watch it on like road trips because my family was like, "We're not going to pay for a plane ticket. We're going to drive everywhere." You know, as you do when you live in the Midwest, because like
Hmm.
every family I know is like that. So we would watch those two specifically on every single car ride.
Oh yeah, I know that well. My family does that still to this day.
Yep.
We're not taking planes. We're driving. What are you
We have
talking
a
about?
car. We paid for this car. We can put gas in it. It'll be cheaper than a plane ticket, which sometimes
Yeah,
is true.
yeah, and it's so funny because my uncle has like a little mini camper that he'll take with him, and that's how they travel. Like,
Man, that sounds useful though. We would just load stuff up in the van.
hmm,
Whatever can fit can fit. You bring a bunch of snacks, it'll be great.
yeah. It's such a Midwest thing to think about that because it's like, yeah, we're just gonna drive. Like that's a Midwest thing if
Where
I've
are you
ever
from
heard one.
again?
Uh huh.
Where are
I'm
you
sorry.
from again?
I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah, so you
Yeah.
get it.
Hmm. Born and raised.
Born and raised.
What's oh, and so for me, my movies would be well, I usually go with
Oh,
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because I love that one.
that's a good one.
But also Oscar. which is something, it's one that a lot of people have never heard of. It's from
Yeah.
1992,
Okay.
and it's with Sylvester Stallone and Marissa Tomei and Yvonne DiCarlo. There's so many Kurt Russell, not Kurt Russell. There's so many great actors and actresses in it, but it's the plot is basically the stereotypical mob life in the 1920s. And so he tries to go straight for his father, that's his passing wish, and he tries to go straight, and it doesn't work out the way he wants it to, and it just keeps getting twisted, and his whole day keeps getting twisted and twisted by trying to go straight and trying to be a good guy.
Huh. I'll have to check it out.
It's really funny. It's really funny. But I will give out the warning that it's like it's meant to be a stereotype essentially.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of things in there that you're like, oh yeah, that's a stereotype of what a mobster would have been considered to be, or the way their life is, and stuff like that.
That makes sense
Um,
for the time in which that movie came out too, because I feel like a lot of movies then had that kind of vibe.
yeah, and Tim Curry's in it. Kurt, oh, his last name is Wood. He played the father on that '70s show. He's in it
Okay.
too.
Yeah, Red.
So many good actors and actresses in
Oh,
that
that's
one.
awesome.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was little, I wanted to be like a pop star, a singer. And then pretty quickly, I don't know, I didn't really think about it in like middle or high school. I just knew I liked acting, and so I was doing that. And then it turned into I wanted to be an English teacher. Because I love reading, I love books. I'm pretty good with grammar. I like editing stuff. Like if my friends write scripts, I'm like, please send it to me. I'd love to read it and go through and give you notes on that if you're interested, just because I like doing it. But yeah, so my high school theater teacher, he actually passed away this past summer, but before I went to college, was asking me, he's like, so what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm thinking about going into theater, but I think I want to be an English teacher. Like, I think I'm going to major in English. And he goes, are you crazy? He was like, Shanna, what are you thinking? And I was like, I don't know, Brad. Like, acting doesn't seem like a feasible career path. And he was like, Shanna, are you insane? Like, that's how he talked. And so he's the reason I ended up going into acting and like trying to pursue that as a career. But up until I was 18, I was like, I'm gonna be an English teacher.
See,
Right.
I didn't know what I when I was younger, I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and then I was like, oh, I can't stand blood. And then when I got older, I was like, oh, MySpace, coding. I love to code the backgrounds and stuff like that. Let me go into this. Let me go be a website designer. And then I got into an art school with graphic design, fashion, film, everything you could think of in the creative world. And I was like immersed in that. And then I left that, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not sure if that's what I'm gonna do. Let me float around a little bit. And then I ended up in tutoring, and I really actually want to be in education. But I also am like at the point where I love education, but I also want to write too.
Yeah. I think those are things you could do at the same time. For
And
sure.
I love to read too. Like I was a blogger, book blogger for a very long time. So like it's all of the things you were describing, I relate to so much.
That's the nice thing about Verticals is that they're romance novels. Like I feel like I'm living all the books that I read. Cause I do a lot of, right now I'm into like Stephen King, but like I would definitely I go through my romance novel phases and I read all of oh shoot. I know the author's name. I can't think of him right now. But the Danielle Steele novels,
Mhm.
like those, and I actually one of my a makeup artist I worked with, she gave me a little pin, and it says "My life is smut," And it's a little pink book, and it has that on the front of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah, I have read romance since I was 12, and it started with the like everyday like Nora Roberts and
Yes. I like the Nora Roberts books. Really good.
Catherine Coulter, who was another one at that time, and Danielle Steele and Sandra Brown. Like there were so many that like it started out. And then now that I'm still in my romance phase, I think that's why I love Vertical so much because I'll read the paranormal romances or the darker romances depending on what's in them. And usually, being around book talk, it's like, here's a dark, spicy romance. Here's this, here's that. And then when I watch Verticals, I'm like, oh, I'm so used to this. Like, just reading about it. Like, so it doesn't phase me to watch it on screen. And I just have a different reaction to it than other people.
Yeah. If you like a dark romance, my one that just came out with Aaron Oberst, Goodbye Husband. Goodbye Husband, please, don't regret me when I'm gone, I believe is what it's called. That one has a lot of dark romance elements to it. It's his character is so interesting. He did such a good job. Aaron is such an amazing actor. I could talk about him all day long. But his character is like this anti-hero kind of
Mhm.
vibe where like I'm like faking my death to get away from him. It's very heavily advertised as like a cryogenic freeze kind of vertical, like one of those. But there are a lot more twists than you think, and that actually, while it is a important part of the story, is not like the story, which I like. I think it has nice elements of both. That one was so fun to shoot. I'm so excited that it came out because now I can talk about it because I've been waiting to talk about it for like a month and a half now.
I think that the verticals that they based on books do really, really well.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's some really good ones. I watched I think his Lost Like in Luna. I did a review on it. And it starred Marie DeWitt and Cayman Cardoff. And that is a book series.
Really?
And I'm like, I gotta go look this up because it's so good. And I looked up the book series and I'm like, oh yeah, this is like really good. And like I grew like growing in the book community and doing book blogging for so long, you have this space where you're like you grow with indie authors. So you see all of
Mhm.
these big time authors now, and I'm like, yeah, I remember when your books were indie books, and we could only get them online, and this and that, and to see them where they are now, it's like so cool.
That's what Candy Jar does. They have a separate app called Galatea because I've looked at the books on. They have a lot of like romance novels on there, and then they turn those into their verticals, which I think is really cool.
And
But
they
they,
have great ones. Oh my god, I'm in love with their app right now.
I would love to work with them sometime. What Beloved True Gentleman got released on there, so I'm on Candy Jar, but I haven't worked on like a Candy Jar set yet. Or I say yet because every time I'm on an interview, I rave about how much I love Candy Jar because I think their stuff's really beautiful. There's a ton of apps that are like that. But them in particular, I've noticed because I really liked. I was getting served ads for His Nerd on my TikTok, and I got like obsessed with that one. What's the actor in that? Um, he's younger. He's got curly hair. Oh shoot.
I know his face, I don't know his name. I am so bad with names. But I
I'm
think,
awful with names, and it's the worst for my career because
yeah.
I should. When I think of it, I'll let you know because I do now follow him on TikTok. I would like to work with him sometime.
Yeah,
We're manifesting that into the world now that I've kind of started doing more young adult type verticals.
Mark Vega has a lot of good ones over there too.
Yeah.
Like his baseball one that just came out with Victoria, and I'm not going to pronounce her last name because I'll butcher it completely. It was so well done.
I love
I,
baseball. It's the only sport I understand.
and she did another one called Dating My Brother's Best Friend or something over there.
I saw that one.
It's
Saw the
so
ad for that
good.
one.
That is so good.
That one looks good.
It was so good. And like it's like that typical vertical trope, but it's still so good.
I also like that I've noticed Candy Jar has their almost like their own pool of actors that they seem to pull from. which I do enjoy because it makes them feel separate. Like, as someone, like, I don't watch verticals often, but I do enjoy them when I watch them. So, like, I can defer to watching Candy Jar because I don't feel like, I don't know, sometimes it feels, I like to watch my friends' stuff and I love to support them. If it's a really steamy vertical, it feels almost invasive if it's someone I've worked with or someone I'm good friends with. Like Jake Lively, he's so lovely, and he's a very good friend of mine, and he had one come out where like he had some like BDSM moments in it, and I was like, I love you, I want to watch it. I can't.
I think he just did that one with Lottie over on, oh,
Drama Wave.
yeah,
Because ours came out, both of ours are on Drama Wave.
yes,
His with her, and then his with me.
yes.
Like
Lottie,
the ones
that
right now.
one was so good.
I haven't seen it. I saw clips of it. It looked good.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's not as what is it? It's not as smexy as some of the other verticals.
Oh,
But
hi,
it's
sorry,
it's really good. Because I love the storyline of it, the way they end up together, and it's just, I call it new adult. What we would consider like college romance in romance novels. It's like that type with less spice.
It felt that was kind of how ours, I think, was spicier. Mine that I did with him, me and my bad student. But that one I would put in the same kind of genre as like new adult. That one was so fun to shoot, and that one I feel very blessed that it did pretty well. Because that was a project I was so passionate about, and we had so much fun. And we were goofing around so much, and it was one of those things where it was like, oh, we're having so much fun. I hope that people like it. So it was really nice that people did.
Wait, is that the one? Did you play a tutor in that one?
Mm-hmm. I'm
I
his tutor
watched it.
because I want to get into Harvard.
Oh my god, I watched that. That was so good.
That one was so fun. And Jake, that was his first young adult one, like his first like high school one that he did. Same with me. It was the first high school one I did. And we were both, and that one actually, so we did a table read, and that was kind of how we met, was in the table read. And and then, so we ended up in that one, we were supposed to stop after like 30 episodes. And that's before anything super spicy happens. It's like, it's like all the leading up to, and then we get interrupted, all of that. And then it ended up being, we had extra time, so we just kept reading. And there's one scene in particular in that one where we got to it, and it's Jake's character, Ethan, is talking Haley through some smexy actions. And I just turned probably as red as my hoodie. And I have it right here, actually. This is my little iPad that I read my scripts off of for table reads. And I'm sitting here like this. And he could only, and he's like, being really professional, and he's getting through it, and he's looking at his iPad, and then he looks up at me, and I'm sitting here bright red like this, and oh my gosh, everybody broke. It was just but it was a good way to like introduce the intimacy because it was like lighthearted. A fun thing though, so the actor who plays Pete, Jace Nielsen, is my husband, and he was on that call, so it's just. So like he's in the next room doing the Zoom, and then I'm over there red, and then Jake is like, yeah, just like that, baby. And
I will tell you, there's an actor that I always make fun of because when he knows this, because when he does romance, he's just like that. The exact way you just described it, he's just like that in a romance scene. And I'm like, how does people not break out laughing? And he's like doing this for like characters. And like, so I always joke with him. I'm like, boy, that, and I say boy in a fun way, but like, that is just like cheesy, like the cheesiest way to do a romance scene.
It's hard. It was, and then we got on set, and I mean, I'm like, you know what? It's Haley's first time. If she's blushing, because I'm blushing. It works for the character. And luckily, when we shot a lot of the intimacy, we didn't shoot any of it until like day 3 or 4. So like Jake and I got to know each other a pretty good amount. Because when you're on set for 12 hours with somebody, you get to know them really well. But yeah, that's how I am though. Anytime I read through intimacy the first time, I know I get made fun. Every actor I've worked with is like, you are red as a tomato right now. Because like I'll fully flush. If I'm wearing a low cut top, like my chest flushes, like everything turns red.
That's that listening to romance novel in public image. Because anybody who listens to a romance novel or is reading one in public, you're like, can somebody see over my? No.
Are they reading this book right now? You can't. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Because if you're reading it out loud and there's 15 people in the room. Oh.
Oh my god, that was so good.
But yeah, I've probably got a story like that on every set, but that one in particular was like really wild. Like I turned so red.
I know, because I get the same way. And I only get that way 2 different ways. When I've had a little too much to drink, or if I'm embarrassed by, like, not embarrassed, but just like, oh my god, I'm reading this, or I'm doing this out, like,
When I get a little flustered, I turn about that red. Anytime, I'm a very comfortable lady when it comes to intimacy. I still am gonna blush every time.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that part of that, I think, is just from the way, like, I always think that's like a Midwest thing. Because it's just the way we were raised.
Yep, it's a more taboo topic.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And it's even with me, like if I'm discussing a vertical BDSM, I'm like trying to be very appropriate and professional in discussing this because I just know that there are certain people out there who are going to be like, a vertical BDSM, like that type of thing.
Something I've kind of realized lately with intimacy is that I think I've decided I have a new goal with doing verticals. Because I am comfortable doing intimacy personally. And I know not everybody is, and that's totally fine. Everybody's comfortability can be different. Mm-hmm. But like women in general, I feel like are told sex is, I don't want us to get demonetized, that intimacy is a bad thing, or that it's embarrassing, or that it's inappropriate, and that you can't talk about it, you can't enjoy it, you can't do it, you can't have a nice time, you can't say what you want, like in that moment. And I would really like to help women become more comfortable with their intimacy preferences. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I also think that's partly too up to the apps. Because I feel like a lot of those apps are pushing out the BDSM topic in a way that is more Christian Grey related versus what BDSM is actually like about. You know, and as somebody who's read books, reviewed books, I kind of have these topics of like BDSM where I'm like, okay, I gotta educate myself a little bit more so I can discuss this with my viewers and like give them an informed concept of what's going on here. And so I think there's only, honestly, and I say this a lot, honestly, and it's funny because the actor finds it funny that I find this like an appropriate version of it, is Domineering Prince. And it's with Kiki Kyle Fraganelli, and Caitlin, and I cannot think of Caitlin's last name. But it's on Drama Box, and for me that is one of the few, actually the only vertical that touches on the real aspects of the BDSM relationship while also staying fiction and also staying fun and also staying like a dramatic storyline.
That makes sense. By the BDSM relationship, do you mean like
the smexier verticals? The slaps, the whips, the chains, that type of vertical.
Yeah. I think, because I do agree. I think a lot of them, because, you know, my first one, Mr. Vampire, was advertised as like BDSM, but really there was only one scene in it that involved anything beyond just like it was more about that one was more about the dynamic of him being like her boss, but
Mm-hmm.
still it only had one scene where there was any really element of BDSM, and then the rest of it was really more traditional intimacy that you see in a lot of verticals.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I never really thought too much about it.
I've seen some that are like straight, I wouldn't say hardcore, but more on the spicier side of that relationship, where there are quite a few scenes where the girl is like, I mean, they're still appropriate, shot appropriately. They're not like overly overt, like this. Um, but they do go into delving more into the spicy aspects of the relationship.
That's interesting. You'll have to let me know, because I know there are more and more of that specific genre coming out. You'll have to keep me updated on like your opinions, because I know they're shifting and changing.
Yeah, because I know Robert, and I might have the last name wrong. I think Robert Walkins.
Robert Watkins, yeah, I've worked
Yeah,
with
he
him.
does a lot of them.
Really? I
Mm-hmm.
know he did like dominating my CEO or something like that, where actually he played like the bottom in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Which was I've never seen in a vertical before.
Mm-hmm. He just did one with Marie DeWitt too, that was kind of on that topic.
Okay.
And so yeah, he's done quite a few of them actually.
Huh. I don't know. I just all I have to say, like, yeah, my goal. I realized this recently with some stuff that I've been working on that I'm very excited about. But like, um, my personal goal, I think, with verticals now is that since I'm comfortable doing intimacy scenes, is that I want to do them and showcase them in a way that feels natural, that feels that women can enjoy those things. It doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
to sound like corn. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be corny. It can be real and feel real. And because I being raised with a mother who actually was very comfortable with those subjects, I would love for, because I know there's a lot of women of all ages who just struggle to talk about it and feel how they want to feel about it. So yeah, but that all that to say, that's kind of something I've recently discovered about why specifically I like doing verticals.
yeah. My mom was comfortable in the aspect that she was like, "Here, you want education? Take it. Like, I don't mind." But less about the discussion aspect.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she gave us as much education as she possibly could. I think I am one of the only people that I know of that my mom literally set me down at like 4 years old and read me a child based book on how babies are made.
Huh. Okay.
Um, and it's really weird that I have that memory because I'll tell you more, I'll DM you more about the story, but yeah, um, I had a child based educational health book per se.
Yes.
And when I do remember this when I was like going to the library, like she took us to the library, signed us up, and I picked up romance books, and the librarian is like, "Ma'am, you know those are romances. Do you want her to read those?" And my mother's like, "Why would I deny my daughter a book? Like, it's romance. Sure, she can read it. I don't care." But that was where her thing was like, "Hey, you want to learn about this? Go find some books."
Yeah. Hey, it sounds like you might have a more comfortable relationship with those topics though than a lot of women. So that's a good thing.
Yes, and I think a lot of that is just really being in the romance area, being a reviewer with authors, and talking to them about their books and reviewing those spicier topics. It just made me more comfortable to want to learn and educate myself on them.
Huh. That's really interesting.
Have
Something.
you have you ever watched? There's a movie called Dr. Kinsey.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, watch that movie.
Okay.
It's a very fascinating story about a real life man who was very overly overt into smexy education. Like he was a doctor, but was very a part of the smexual um threesome, foursome type of
Okay.
life. And it's quite a fascinating story. The same with like Wonder Woman. Like I don't think a lot of people know that the creator of Wonder Woman actually was with two women. Like they lived together, like they had a relationship.
I didn't
So,
know that.
mhm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so there's quite a few fascinating facts out there.
I know, and I kind of live in work in that universe of just like you have to be okay talking about it. You don't have to, but for
Mhm.
the verticals that I specifically usually end up doing, being comfortable talking about it is an important part of my job.
I think being so much a part of the romance community as a reviewer, I look at romance verticals now and everybody, like, I see certain fans and they're like, oh, the guy is so cute and so handsome and this is such a scene and all of this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they slept together. Like, who cares? Let's move on. Like, what's the rest of the story about?
I like I whenever I think intimacy should always aid in the plot, and I enjoy doing intimacy when it aids in the plot. You
Hmm.
know, whenever I can put myself in that character's headspace and be like, okay, so why are we doing this right now? Why are we sleeping together? Why are we kissing? That is like, I think part of what makes it fun and also makes it can make it easy.
Hmm.
So like, the one of mine that just came out in Goodbye Husband, there's a moment where Daisy, my character, is trying to leave Royce, Aaron's character, and she's like packing her shit, and she's like, "I'm getting out of here," and he's like, "Okay, well, if you're gonna leave, why don't we have fun one last time?" So then there's intimacy revolving around that. And like the thought process in that moment was it's just interesting to think about where someone's head would be in that time.
Hmm.
Oh, she's leaving her husband that she's been with for years, but she wants to be with him and she likes being intimate. It was that was a fun thing about that project is that we were really Aaron and I both together and with the director Roxy got to talk about like our backstories that maybe the audience doesn't see, but like for us it helps aid us in the moment, which was really fun.
Have you ever seen Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie?
No, I'm so bad.
Okay, so Marnie is actually a really good film with Sean Connery, Tippi Hedren, who is Dakota Johnson's grandmother. And in this film, there's a scene, a literal scene, where they had to write in a grape scene.
Okay.
And this is back before film did that. Like this was like a non-touchable, like a subject that was non-touched.
Yeah.
And she's forced into marrying this guy. He blackmails her into this marriage.
Yeah. Sounds very vertical.
Yeah, and this scene was so well done. Just the way they shot it. And it's not even like overly overt like you know, he literally just rips down her nightgown and then it cuts away.
But it shows you
And the
what the implications there.
yeah, and the way it's discussed later on and the way and the reason that she becomes sort of like this blackmailer of CEO type businessman is because her mom was a lady of the night and she blocked all of those memories out. And so like it all eventually connects and it's done so freaking well. And like Marnie is one of the films that is least talked about.
Wow.
Hmm. And it has like a young Sean Connery in it, James Bond, that type of thing. Um, but he was so good in it. It's literally one of my favorite films that he ever did.
I'll have to take a look at it. Well, I'm gonna have to make my list of movies that you told me to watch.
I will DM you
That
the
sounds
movie.
great.
If someone was going to make your life into a vertical, who would star in it?
Oh, that's hard. I I almost feel like if you're gonna make verticals about vertical actors' lives, that you should almost have like actors who aren't vertical playing them. Like I feel like, oh my gosh, there's so many. I don't know. Emma Watson is an actress I always got told I looked like a lot whenever I was younger. So she's, even though she's older than I am, but I think uh, her like style and her look and her vibe match mine. So I'd almost want her to play me. But in a vertical specifically, there's so many. I love Lawson Grayson. She and I are besties, so I think I would have to have her play me. And I would play her, and we would just flip.
Okay, so I usually ask this question, but I'm finding that it's not really as relatable as I thought it was. So you can answer this how you feel.
Okay.
What type of rehearsal schedule do you have? Or even what type of schedule do you have for yourself when you're on these verticals?
Um, in terms of rehearsing, I mostly since so we get our call sheets usually the night before we shoot, which I'm sure you've heard before.
Mhm.
Um, so what I do is every night before bed when I'm on set, once I get the call sheet, I read through all of my lines. And I actually Patrick Palkins gave me this advice because before I would just read through them in my head, but now I'll read them probably two or three times, like no emotion, just out loud, and then go to sleep immediately after doing that because something about that and the memory centers in your brain, looking at things right before you sleep helps lock them in faster. So I do that. And then I wake up the next day, and then usually in the makeup chair, I'll read through the scenes again one more time, just in my head. And then before we shoot everything, like I go through and I practice with my whoever's in my scene partner, whoever it is. But something that I personally do is before I even start a production, I try to, after they send me the script, even if it's like a rough draft, I try to read through it at least three times before we ever get on set so that I know what's happening, I'm comfortable with the plot, I know who my character is, and I'll make, a new thing I've started doing is I make playlists based around the character, either whether that be her personality, what music I think she listens to. Sometimes it's like, what music do I think she would listen to while she's dancing around in her underwear in her room, jumping on the bed like she's in like an '80s movie. Like, what music would she listen to? And she's doing that, and that's like my playlist. I just make like music that'll get me in the headspace.
I love that because authors like do that all the time. Like if you look in a lot of books nowadays, they have playlists already. Like they're like, here's such and such playlist during this moment. So I love that. The other thing you were talking about was like the night before shooting, like getting your thing. I just did an interview with Annalisa Wall, and she was talking about how her scene partner actually got cut the night right before they started shooting.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm like, when I hear some of these stories, I'm like, darn, they throw everything at you guys. Like, you guys got to be the man of steel in this.
I've had a project where like we ended up having to find a new male lead the day before we started shooting, which that is always tough because just sometimes people get things happen, like life happens, and just you have to roll with the punches because this isn't like a movie where you can reschedule the month-long shoot. This is like a vertical, the budget's already allocated, everything's already paid for. We're getting you on set. You're like, okay, cool. Um, but it's honestly been like the biggest acting workshop of my life, and it's really taught me to roll with the punches. So I could not be more grateful, for being able to like just learn on the spot. Oh, okay, we have new scenes going on today. Let's go look at those really quick. Because sometimes that'll happen is like day of. They're like, actually, this location's better for these scenes. We won't have this person tomorrow. Something happened. Like, we're going to flip up the scenes. And you're like, cool. These are not the scenes I practiced the night before. Let's go figure that out really quick.
That I wanted to ask you real quick. So have you ever had those moments where you literally had to be like in a swimming pool on a cold day? And
I just had that happen for the first time ever. on Me and My Bad Student with Jake Lively. It was the last scene, last day of the whole shoot. It was like 2 in the morning. We're in a pool. It's like maybe 50 degrees out if I was lucky, which isn't cold, but when you're in water, that's very cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only is it that, but it was so that motorcycle scene in Me and My Bad Student where we kissed and then he picks me up and then we fall into the pool kissing. We had one take to do that fall because we had to be dry and then fully fall in the pool. And we didn't have time to dry us off in between takes. And then you're sitting in there and they're like, okay, now it's time to set up for the next shot. And the decision you make in that moment is, do I stay in the water where like my body is now acclimated to this temperature? Or do you get out and sit and shiver on the side of the pool? And so there's some really lovely photos that are now on my Instagram of me and Jake with towels. Like mine's like over my head. His is too. And we're like holding hot teas. Like I'm like cuddling next to him for warmth because I'm a little lady. And I've got, and I have bad blood pressure. So I just get cold really easily. And so,
Yeah.
and I was just sitting there like shivering like this, and we're like, are we ready for the next shot? But they took good care of us, and they're sitting there keeping us warm, and we got through it as quick as possible. But I think almost every vertical lady I've talked to has one of those moments where we're like, yep, I was in the coldest pool of my life.
Yeah, and I acclimate that to like our Midwest summers where it's like 50 degrees at night, and then you had like an 85, 95 degree day all day, and then you're walking around and all of a sudden it's 50 degrees and you're like, oh crap, I gotta put on some pants.
I'm cold.
Versus 50 degrees in the winter time, you're like, oh, let me take off this puffer jacket, let me put on a light.
Shorts.
Our winter, it's so funny because I always laugh at it because I'm like 50 degrees in the winter is warm versus 50 degrees in the summer.
Cold. It's cold.
What was your first performance? Now this can be in anything. It doesn't have to apply to verticals.
My first performance ever, I don't remember the performance, but I know what it was. I was like 3. And I was in Sunday school, and I was the angel of love, and I was the front of the line of angels. All of the Sunday school kids, we were all dressed as angels, and we all had little papers, and we had to we said love is this, and that's like what we said. And or like whoever was like, kindness is this. I might have been a little older. No, I was like 3 or 4. I was little. And our like youth leader, I was little, but I remember I thought he was very handsome. And he like guided us around the stage. And
mine was Stone Soup in first grade.
I know exactly
yes.
what you're talking about.
And I remember I had the very important job of having the ladle and walking up there to try the soup and then having to put it down.
That's a very important job.
It was. What techniques do you use to get into that role? Into any role, essentially?
I've talked a little bit about some of them. So like now I make playlists. I actually started doing that because, so if you know of Luna Seranova, she's a little newer in terms of doing leads. She and I have been doing verticals for the same amount of time, but she recently, I think Taming the Cold CEO was her first lead that she did, which was so wonderful. And she's got a really great one on Drama Pops too, called Cost of Touch.
Have you seen Cost of Touch?
I've not seen all of it. I've seen parts of it. That one, I think, does a really good job approaching women being comfortable with promiscuity, though. I think it does a good job with that, which I really like. I just love her. She's so talented. But anyway, so she's actually based in Kansas City. And we were based in Kansas City at the same time. We were like the 2 vertical actresses, us and 3, because there's another woman, her name's Lauren Smith, that were based in Kansas City. And she was talking about, like, she was a villain on one that I was doing with her, Swipe Right, which I did with Tyler Johnson Ellis. And then she played Belize. She played our villain. She was so good. And she was telling me about the playlist she listens to every day on her drive to and from set. And so she told me about that. And I was like, huh. And then I got around to like Bad Student. And actually that was the first one. I thought about her telling me that, and I was having a hard time figuring out my character. And so I made a playlist, and actually ended up being like a bunch of like I'm Just a Kid by Simple Plan. It's like teenage dirtbag and teenagers. It was just a bunch of stuff about being a teenager, but it just like helped. So that's one thing I do now to get into character. Because that's so fresh, there's not a ton of playlists I can talk about. But the one for Goodbye Husband, that one was a lot of songs about like heartbreak. But I almost learned with her, she almost didn't listen to a lot of music. There was one song, it's called You Don't Own Me, but it's the G-Eazy, like, they sampled the original in that. And that song in particular, that was Daisy's song. So I would do that, and
Oh my God. Girl, if you saw my playlist, you'd be like, oh my God.
I'll have to take a look at it. And then I drink a coffee, and I've learned now that it's a specific coffee, but it just gets me like in the right headspace. And then now something I've started doing, or something I specifically did with Aaron Oberst, is we talked a lot about our character's relationship. And so then I did that with Jake Lively as well. And I just talk with the other actor. What's our character's relationship? Okay, what's it like in this scene? In this moment? Overall, like, how do they grow together? What's the change? What's the difference? What's the dynamic? Usually the man is more dominant when it comes to intimacy. But then, like, emotionally, like, does he understand her? Or is it frustrating? And you just kind of talk through those things. Plus, I like it. I like doing character work. I grew up with a theater background. So, like, doing the work is fun for me.
Yeah. I'm one of those people, I always tell people with my autistic brain, I love figuring out how stuff works. So that's probably something I would enjoy because I just love the process of learning about whatever somebody else is doing. And I have a really bad habit though, like I ask a ton of questions and a lot of people take that as me questioning their authority when I'm just like, no, I'm fascinated. Like share more. Let me know. Like there's stuff that you do that like maybe somebody else doesn't know about. Like give it to me, like inform me, like because I am so inquisitive and that's how my brain works and certain things.
I love asking whoever I'm working with questions about their character. Like on Goodbye Husband, it was the first day of shooting, and Aaron and I's characters don't really. There's moments where they interact a lot and moments where they don't. And that show, there happens to be a lot of flashbacks. So I was talking with Aaron, and I was like, okay, so like, what's our relationship like now versus during the flashbacks? And then he does a lot of character work, and he really went into detail about what we think our relationship is. And then we started talking about it, and we were like, well, it's such a toxic relationship. Why did they get together? And then he and I together created this whole backstory about how my character Daisy was working in a diner, and his character Royce, who's this arms dealer, had just finished a job and comes into the diner at 2 a.m. and sees her and thinks she's gorgeous and asks her out. And like, that's how they met. And then we're like, okay, well, what there's a relationship like? Well, it's so toxic. It's probably very physical. So they had a very physical relationship, and they were very young and immature. And then when they got older, they just realized like Daisy was having a hard time having kids, and they just didn't connect as much as they like. We just had like this almost 2-hour long on and off conversation in between scenes, just like about like Daisy and Royce and who are they and what's their relationship to one another. And that was really how I kind of almost met Aaron as well, which is really great because it was just all of the men I worked with are so lovely, and all of them are so committed. So it's always nice when you like realize what their favorite part about their job is. And for him, clearly it was like doing the work. And then for some
Yes.
guys, it's like they love the fights and they want to talk through the fights and the stunts and I don't know. I totally get like loving to ask questions and knowing like other people's thought processes.
See, I would enjoy that process. Like, I would enjoy that so much. Like, I'm one of those people, I'm like, okay, so tell me about this, and tell me about this, and tell me about that.
Exactly. I get it.
What do you think makes a performance most believable?
If you believe it. So like sometimes I was always taught that acting is reacting. So a way for me personally to make my performance believable is I want my reactions to seem real. I want like to actually listen to what the other person is saying. I don't want to over rehearse. And then I listen and I try and I react honestly how I would react. I can't speak on anybody else. I just think as long as it feels grounded, like I feel like you believe yourself, that's what makes it feel real to me. What about you? I'm curious.
I kind of think it's that, but I also kind of think it's a little bit of like what I would call confidence, or even in some terms, audacity. Because you really got to come in with that like that strength and that confidence to do that role in the first place. It's almost like when it's like I have I have a TikTok somewhere I got to show you, but that role with Meredith Grey where she tells Derek basically she's like, you don't get to tell me how to heal from this. You don't get to tell me how to pick up those pieces and fix myself.
That seems
And
so good.
and I love that little shot from Grey's Anatomy, but even more so love the confidence and the audacity that she puts behind it because she's like, no, sir, whose life is this? This is mine. You don't get to tell me how to fix it. And she really delves into like all of her flaws too. She's like, even all of those daddy issues. It's like I still chose you, and then you didn't pick me, but you don't get to tell me how to fix myself after that. And I really, really love that moment.
Have you heard that? So she did an interview recently because, you know, that specifically the pick me, choose me, love me, like that part of that monologue went really viral. She hated that scene.
Yeah,
She thought she
yeah,
did an awful performance in that scene. And it like everyone loved it so much and went so viral, which that kind of also showed me like, okay, just because I can tell I'm acting doesn't mean everybody else can. Sometimes it's the character and I have to just let it be who she is.
yeah. And I love Katherine Heigl for that reason, who played Izzy on that show.
Oh my gosh, I love
Um,
her.
yes. My love of Catherine goes all the way back to a show called oh God, what was it? Roswald. It was on the WB.
Okay.
And I love that show. It's like it was like I think 90s, might have been early 2000s. And she was in that, but I loved it because the director of it was actually Jonathan Frakes, who played William T. Riker on Star Trek: The Next Generation. And then Jeannie Francis, who plays on General Hospital as Laura Spencer, was also like a guest spot role on that show too. So like the whole acting, that little relationship, like they're two of my favorite actors. Um, just to see them on there, but she was on there too, and this was a young Katherine Heigl. So it's really like that knowing that history and then watching her as Izzy, there's so much love there.
I
So
first
much
saw
love.
27 Dresses and man, I am the younger sister, so it was really nice to see the older sister perspective because I don't know. I feel like I learned a lot, and I really and I also resonated with all of her frustrations and female rage is so good. I love whenever I get to play like a very strong woman who like has her female rage moments. In the one, oh my gosh, in my one that just came out, there's a scene where spoilers, but just like I'm at a wedding altar screaming at my ex-husband, just like letting him have it, and it was one of those. It was so good. It was so fun to be able to play that because women just rage, and it's so good.
I love Cost of Touch for that reason with Luna Serenova
She's great.
because She literally went through like this life cycle, and this life cycle that just kept knocking her character Winter down. And you're watching this and I'm like, "Oh my God, like that's a story of survival." Because not a lot of women, not a lot of women um get to sorry, TikTok's doing a weird thing with me. Not a lot of women get to like really express those kinds of stories. So when I watched Cost of Touch, I was like, I went into it because I was a fan of Cayman Cardos, but then I watched her in it and I was like, whoa, this is her story. This is not his. He's a secondary character. This is her story and her fight of being in survival mode. And I really related to that because I've been in so much survival mode my whole life. But it's crazy that you were describing rage because there's a certain aspect where you're like, you just keep getting pushed down and pushed down and then pushed down. And like you're going about and you're just like, yeah, everything is good. Life is good. And then you get that rage in you. And then it's like, whoa, where did that come from? And how do I read twist that so it goes out into the world without coming off as rage and anger? And there's just sometimes you cannot escape it becoming rage and anger.
That one, I actually recently met the writer who wrote Cost of Touch, and his name's Ryan. He has done some really, really cool stuff with a lot of platforms, but a lot of his stuff's just on Drama Pops. Because I believe I might be wrong. I believe he wrote Yes Chef on Drama Pops, which I don't know if you've seen that one, but actually that was recommended to me and I did watch it, and it was just such a fun one, and also the characters were so well developed. And I haven't watched all of it. I'm listing a lot of Aaron Ober's stuff, but it's just because he was I can tell the story later, but like he was just recommending me some stuff to take a look at just for a certain company to like reference stuff. But then like Mr. Blake's Rules, that one's one that he wrote as well. And then there's a Christmas one of theirs that just came out with Autumn, and that one's like a rom-com and it's super fun. So it's just like his work is all really wonderful. So I'm not surprised that you really resonated with Cost of Touch like that.
Oh, Cost of Touch has a really good like added bonus. It's a story inside of a story, and it's about the Scorpion sisters. But you realize at the end that the Scorpion sisters are Winter and her sister. It's really good.
Oh, I'll have to watch it. I'm sure I can find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's really really good. It's absolutely one of my favorite
That one's the Drama
verticals.
Pops one, right?
Yeah.
Drama Pops does some really cool stuff, I've noticed. And they have like a new feature where you can watch their verticals horizontally.
Mm.
So like when you want the convenience of just watching it up and down, you can do that. And then there's certain verticals where you can turn them sideways.
I think Candy Jar is starting to implement that
Yeah.
too. Yeah. What makes a good scene partner for you?
Knowing your lines. um, I really like working with people who like to play with the scene, whether that be sometimes they'll let us like improv lines, and that's really nice. Uh, and then or like physical actions that really help. Like someone who just is willing to like see things I do and riff off of them. Because there's a lot of that. All of everyone I've worked with is so wonderful. But like it's really nice having those things, or like so something that a lot of people don't think about until you're like doing it is when you're in a relationship with somebody, when you love somebody, you're touchy usually. Whether it's like your legs are touching, or like your hands on their shoulder or on top of their hand, or like just like those because you have to think about them and let them also be subconscious at the same time. So working with a scene partner who's comfortable with that kind of action is very nice, which I've been very fortunate that like all the guys I've worked with are very good about that fact in like knowing, oh, well, I'm in love with you, so I would probably put my hand on your knee while you're having this really sad moment. Or like taking the initiative of like, I know it's not written in, but I'm gonna hug you right now. Like that's what, for me, I guess it's like just understanding relationships, I guess, to sum all of it up is a really great attribute of a good scene partner.
Yeah, I was thinking about Casey and Autumn while you were talking about that because my first vertical is one of the first verticals that they ever did.
Yeah.
And watching them in that vertical, which is faded to my alpha, and versus now, they like you can see the growth and you can see that in Casey and Autumn and the way they're just so comfortable around each other that when they are doing these scenes and they're acting against one another, they're very much like, oh, I'm gonna hug her or I'm gonna hold her hand or I'm gonna do this type of thing.
I see that with me specifically in my projects with Casey. Because my first vertical ever was with Casey Esser. And I can tell because I had never really done not really, I had never done intimacy. I had never been on camera before. This was like my first everything. It was like a BDSM vampire or something or other. Like I was getting baptized with fire. And while that vertical, I'll admit it did very well at the time and I'm very proud of it. I can see the growth in like my own acting from that one to My Beloved True Gentleman. And then especially, honestly, from My Beloved True Gentleman to I Accidentally Slept with My Professor. I Accidentally Slept with My Professor is some of my favorite acting I've ever done. I was very proud of that. And my dynamic with Casey, you can tell that we're just comfortable with each other, that I'm comfortable with him. You can in True Gentleman as well, but True Gentleman, their relationship is more strained. So it's able to read that way. And Professor, it's meant to be like they're chemically just drawn to each other and they joke with each other and they have like a personal relationship on top of physical. And working with Casey multiple times taught me a lot about just acting in general because it was with the same person and I learned that I could grow just with one person. I love doing a second project with the same person. Like working with them the first time is great. I love that second one because you get to like discover new things. It's so nice.
See, I love watching, like, when I can watch a group, like Casey and Autumn, for example, when I watch them on screen, I'm like, okay, these people, I know they're familiar with each other, so they're gonna vibe, so this is gonna be a connection, this is gonna be something I enjoy, it's gonna be, and knowing Casey and seeing all the BTS, like, I know it's also gonna have humor in it, because he is one of those people that I see step out of his comfort zone. Um, so knowing that, I'm like, oh yeah, I love these two together. I'm gonna watch it. But at the same time, there comes a point where I've seen some of the same people thrown together so many times in a vertical that I'm just like, can I have a fresh face with them? Like, no hate, no disrespect, like none of that. But I'm just like, can they get somebody new? Can we see who?
Hard to see them as the characters when you've seen someone with someone too many times in a row.
Yeah, it really is. And also you're at the point to I hate to say it this way because I don't want to sound rude, but like you're at the point where you're watching their work and you're like, they could be so good. They could be so good, but they need something fresh. They need something new. They need a little bit more growth. And I think that's where it comes in for me because I watch them at these characters and they do different characters and I'm like, yeah, but this is so and so. I've seen them together like a million times. Like, this is nothing new to me. Can I have something new? And I also think that like watching you guys with different people, it helps you grow too. And that's something that I can observe. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen them with like you, for example. I watched one with you. I watched the ones with you and Casey. I watched the one with you and Jake. I would have to see what other ones I watch, but those ones, like, just seeing the dynamics, I can see your growth with Jake versus what you did with Casey. Does that make sense?
Jake, yes. Jake and I were able to grow together a lot because we both, there were some like new things in that script that we had never done before. And we both are like younger and newer to the industry. So he and I were like really bouncing off of each other, which was really fun. He's still pretty new. I'm very excited to see where he goes because he's so talented and he's so fun. And he's so kind. He's
Oh,
such a kind person.
he has some, like you were saying, he has the Smexy one, which is with Quincy.
Yeah.
And then he has, and that one I was like, even I was kind of like a little taken aback. But I don't like to judge them until I've watched them myself to be like, hey, this is why I was like just a little, you know. Um, but the other, and sometimes it's just plain and simple in the aspect that like I see an actor or an actress play a role, and I'm just like, I love you guys. I see where you were going with this, but that role was just it. You didn't have the fit for it. You didn't have the personality for it per se. And I always try to be very like critical in like when I'm reviewing and when I'm posting these reviews because I definitely am not, my intention is never to hurt anybody. But there's just some roles that I watch certain people do and it's like that was not meant for you. That should have been somebody else. Um but yeah, with Jake, I seen the one with like shots with Quincy, and I'm like, okay, I need to watch that to give it a little bit more of a vibe. But then I see the one he did with you, and then I see the one he did with Lottie, and then I was like, oh, I love those. Those are good. And they're both similar but different.
Mm-hmm. He does well at the high school trope. Like
Yeah. The thing about the high school trope is I feel like there's certain ones that they put high school trope and then they want to put them as college. And so somewhere in between, they lose that it's a high school or it's a college or it's a high school or it's a college. Just by things that they have the actors do. It's not even on the actors, it's just the way they move the plot.
yeah, it's well, I think a big one that I see a lot in high schools is they'll put the high schoolers going to a bar. Yep. And if they just made it a party, people drink underage all the time. If you just made it a party and now they're drinking because it's like a high school party, then it's like, oh, okay, they're high schoolers. But when you put them in a bar, that's college.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. That's what the baseball one, that's why I describe it more college because like they meet the way they meet in class, the way Mark meets Victoria's character in class, the way that they interact at a frat house. I'm like, that's a college based story. That's definitely college. But there are some where I'm like, wait, was this high school or was this college?
Sorry, my husband's peeking through the door.
He's probably like, what are they talking about?
What are you talking about? High school and college and bars and what's happening? Even if you made a note of something like, oh, do you have a fake ID? Then they're high schoolers. It
Hmm.
works. We already look like a lot of the people, we're all 20-year-olds playing high schoolers. So, like, maybe it's believable we have a fake ID that someone believes.
Yes. What has been your and there are some where I'm like, I look at some of you and I'm like, wait, I think Kira Wisely is the perfect example of this. I look at her and I'm like, wait, you're in your 20s? Girl, I thought you were a little older. Like and if I'm not mistaken, she's 21, I think, or 22, somewhere around there, and I'm like, girl, I thought you were older.
They do
And
put
then
us
there
in
are other
the
ones.
So,
Mm-hmm. And then there are other
sorry, you talk.
then there are other ones where I'm like, no, girl, you are just like, and I think that's part of the character, the reason that I'm like, there are certain people that don't work for certain characters. Because when you look at that character, it's more like 25, between 25 and 30 base versus the person who's playing that character.
Yes. I think so. Me personally, I have played anywhere now from 17 to 30 is what I've been put in. I do believe, and I think generally I tend to read pretty young. So the characters that are like 25 and under, I resonate with more. And then when they start putting me, while I love playing a mother, when they start making me like a mom and and having my character be meant to be older because I'm married to someone who is in their 30s. I personally am like, do I look too young? And then they put me in a lot of like business casual clothes and they'll put a lot of makeup on me and that definitely helps. So I don't know, but I think I read younger.
I also think verticals have this stereotype of looking at younger women and being like, "Oh, she just wants to be a mom. That's what she wants in life." And I think that's just a translation thing among some of these verticals moving over. I think that's where that falls. But I really think that's sometimes it where they're putting out this image of like, oh, she's in her 20s, but she wants to be a mom. This is, and not every woman in their 20s wants to be a mom.
No,
So, what has been your favorite vertical so far?
that's so hard. But I promised Jake Lively that I'd say me and my bad student, so I'm gonna say that one.
I always laugh when I ask people that question because they're just like, I just don't know, and this and that. And then I'm like, it doesn't have to be your vertical. Like, it can be any vertical.
No, but right now Jake and I have a going bit that it's me and my bad student number one forever. So I have to say that for the bit. But there are a lot that I like. There's so many that I like, and that's hard because I've said this before, but his nerd on Candy Jar, that one I really enjoy. There's a lot of
Is that the one with Kelsey? I think her last name is Kelsey Plummet or
she's got darker hair.
yeah.
She's slender. She's very pretty.
Oh, okay. So that's not the one I'm thinking of with Kelsey. Okay.
I think I know you're talking about the one with Kelsey, and I've seen that one too. Or at least I've gotten the ads for that one, and I really like that one as well. That one I think is more college.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, his nerd, is high school. I tend to like the young adult genre more than like the classic vertical tropes, personally. Oh, there was one. It's so crazy. So like I've been talking about because my new one with Aaron came out. But before I ever worked with him, like months ago, back in like February, I was getting served so many ads for his professor one with Tess. His like very first professor one. And actually the intimacy in My Beloved True Gentleman was inspired by that vertical. Like we were talking with the producers and they were showing us clips of Aaron and Tess and being like, we enjoyed this. Like it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but this kind of vibe, this amount of heat is kind of what we're going for. Cause, they were really great about, and they didn't want us to copy anybody else, but they just wanted like to give us Casey and I some inspiration for like, this is the vibe. We don't want you to do this exactly, but like this energy. But that one I got served a lot of ads for whenever it came out. And I did tell Aaron that when we worked together. I was like, I'm going to be really honest. I got served a lot of ads for your vertical with Tess. And he goes, which one? And I was like, your first professor one? And he was like, well, I didn't know he'd done more than one. So I was like, your professor one? And then he was like, which professor one? And I was like, I don't know the name of it. And then he started listing titles at me. That one is one that I liked at the time. I thought the dynamic was good.
The professor and like young student is like kind of a trope. Like it depends on the person who's doing it.
I have a hard time because of
yeah.
the implications.
and who the story is, like how the story's written, because there are some of them that I'm like, oh, I already saw that, and I saw that over on this app, like, and then I'm just like, oh, can I have something new? Like, can I have a better storyline?
I also
Because
yeah.
there are absolutely verticals that are similar. They're similar plots. But if I watch this one and I watch this one and I look at them and I'm like, wait, no, this one was so much better. Like, it was just done better. It was shot better. It had a better process. Like, I was describing this with First Daughter and Chasing Liberty. So they came out the same year. They have the same premise. But I far prefer the one that Mandy Moore did, which was Chasing Liberty, versus the one that Katie Holmes did. And it was just the way it was shot and the way how it was handled. And oftentimes that's what it is. When I'm going into these verticals, I'm like, okay, did I enjoy this? I get it's a similar plot to so and so, but can I enjoy this? Like, um, Tess and Cayman had a similar plot to Nicole and Seth. Okay, but to me, they were completely different.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just the way it's shot or the way it's written or the way it's put out there.
For me personally, with the professor one, something I look out for when I'm auditioning is I want it to be so utterly clear that we are in college, that we are all adults. Because I have seen some that walk that line.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, a relationship between an adult man and an underage girl uh, is just, I think, too far. If I'm playing, I'll play 18. I'll be a college student, but like high school for me, personally, for me to play is a little too young. If I'm gonna play high school, it's gonna be with another like high school student. But that was one thing I liked about my professor one with Casey was that in the script I was written as a grad student, so I was supposed to be like 25 and it was meant to be, it was a professor student dynamic but not really an age gap dynamic.
And see, I love that one for that reason. Because there's something out there, I like a scientific fact that women get their frontal lobe gets developed by 25.
Yes.
So at 25, we're actual adults now. And so, and for me, there's always been that concept, like, I don't judge people who have age gap relationships, but I look at it and I'm like, you're 18, you just left home, you're in college, you're exploring life, and you have all of these people around you who are trying to, like, you don't have mom and dad giving you structure and giving you that dynamic. Now you have all these other people who are trying to convince you, hey, it's cool to do this, it's cool to do this. And so you're learning about life. And then to throw an older man into that situation, that can become really controlling, really manipulative, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those verticals can be done very well. I think you just have to tread the line. That's
Exactly. Who do you look up to as an actor? And this can be anybody, actor, director, writer, anyone.
one of them is Johnny Depp. I really love. He is an actor that I could see him play any part, and I believe it every time. And I would like to be able to do that. I think everyone, if you have like a trope that you do well, that they like casting you as, lean into that because work is work, and if people like watching you as that and you do it well, that's great. Like lately, I've been doing like I think I tend to do like that young naive into like not naive anymore trope a lot, where like I start out really confused and then I learn a lot. Like that's what I do. Um, and but I would love to be able to just morph into characters the way he does and make everything so believable. Um, and I just really like Harrison Ford. I look up to him because I like him. That's all. I think he's handsome and I think he's talented.
I was just watching that scene between him as Han Solo, with Kylo Ren. and where he makes Kylo take off the Vader helmet in Star Wars, and I'm just watching that, and I'm like, oh my god,
He's
like
so
it was so good. And then Carrie Fisher, in her own right too, is one of my faves for that reason. Like her acting talent was so spectacular, but her writing talent, which not a lot of people talk about, was like out of this world amazing.
really wow.
Mm-hmm. Who is the funniest person you've worked with on set?
I'm gonna hurt some feelings, but I think it's Casey Esser.
I
He
believe that.
he honestly he's such a quiet, reserved guy, and then you get to know him, and because I've done 3 projects with him, I've gotten to know him, and he makes so many jokes. Like I've worked with a lot of other guys who joke around. Don't get me wrong, but like Casey, it's almost nothing but jokes once he gets comfortable around you.
Mm-hmm. I
Like,
can definitely see that about Casey. Um,
fun. It's
did
so
you?
fun.
There's a scene in the one he did with Autumn, the newer one he did with Autumn, where he literally gets slapped in the face with corn, like actual corn, and he just like gets slapped in the face with it, and it's so funny. It's like so funny.
For it.
Um, I gotta tell you, I'll DM you something else, but I want to tell you something funny about the Casey thing.
Okay.
What do you do when you're not working on a vertical?
Um, I go to the gym a lot because one of my favorite activities is I like to bring a book on the like the bike, the stationary bikes, and I'll just sit there and read. Or like I like to watch my videos and stuff. I grew up dancing, so I'm a very active person, but I don't dance anymore because I'm now dance classes I have to pay for them, not my mom's.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the gym. I don't know, I like working out. I've been lately trying to get a lot stronger. It's also part of my job. I think something unfortunate is I have to maintain a certain physique. I look forward to the day where my industry in general is less focused on that and more focused on that everyone is all bodies are beautiful. And I think we're getting better. We get better every day. So I go to the gym a lot. I get coffee. I like to try new coffee shops near where I am. My go-to is just an iced latte, and if they have good espresso, then I get flavors. But I used to work in coffee, so I'm kind of picky. um, I read. I spend a lot of time with my cats. I just try to find time for my me things because when you're on set, I don't have time for any of them. So I'm like, okay, I like going to the gym. I like going for walks. I like to go to the movies and stuff. So just whatever I feel like doing, if it's feasible, I try to do that because I don't have time whenever I'm working.
Yeah, my thing, especially in college, I used to, my school was so close. And being an art school, you're like used to it. So I would just walk over to the art museum and I would walk around in the museum. Like I had a membership and everything, just float around the museum. And then I would walk around because we have Lake, there's like a little opening that opens off to Lake Michigan where I was at. And so like I would walk on the piers there and just walk back and forth. And every so often, especially in the summertime, I'll get this vibe and I'll go to the public museum, which is not too far away, and then I'll walk down to the art museum and then I'll walk around out there. And like I love being outside. It's like one of my favorite things.
I just want to go walk around while it's sunny out and get.
Yes.
I like to get a little drinky. It can be a coffee. It can be a tea. It can be a soda. It can be. I drink a lot of like the electrolyte drinks and stuff. Just something to sip on, and I like to walk.
Mine's is in the summertime, it's ice green tea with honey and lemonade.
I've been into matcha lately. I had never really tried matcha before, but Los Angeles is like matcha central. So I was like, okay, I'll try matcha. Everybody likes matcha. And I enjoy it. I like tea, so it makes sense that I would like matcha.
If you had a magic wand, what type of vertical would you want to do?
I really want to do one where I can box and where I can dance. Um, there's some I'm not going to go into too many details because I don't want to give away all my secrets, but like I have ones I want to write. There's one in particular actually that I have talked about before that I do want to, if I could magically make it happen, I would, where the male and female lead, like in like Castaways, are stranded on an island together. And like they hate each other. And maybe one of them is like they're in a relationship, but the person they're in a relationship with is awful, and then they're stuck there and they're like, we can't be together, but like eventually it just happens. Like they can't help it. I like that. Like a relationship of circumstance, and then they like get rescued and you're like, I have to go home to my wife, or I have to go home to my boyfriend. I thought I was gonna die and I was never gonna see them again. That's why this happened. So then you kind of have that where like the audience gets why they did it, and you're not mad at them, but also it's still like this moral dilemma. I think something like that would be great in a vertical. But I also know that like a lot of the platforms would want to see your traditional vertical tropes. And how would you fit that on a stranded island with only two people? So like I would love to just poof make that happen.
See, I could see so much comedy happening in that though.
I have
Like,
I have like
I
these
could,
ideas where the girl can make, maybe she's really good at fishing and it like surprises them, and like she's the one who knows how to survive in the woods, but you don't expect that because usually it's the man. And then there's this comedy who's like, I can start the fire, I swear, and then she comes over and like in 2 seconds has a flame. I think there's so much you could do.
see, I could see her fishing and pulling out the fish and slapping him in the face with it as she's pulling it out of the water.
I would love to do that one with and in my head I'm picturing whoever the guy is, someone who like tends to be stubbly, like a more rugged look. In my head.
I kind of got oh, what's his name? Oh, his first name's Tom. I can't, and you're gonna know who I'm talking about when I say the movie, Castaway, I think it is,
Yeah.
where he at the soccer ball, Wilson.
Yep.
I kind of get that like image.
And yes. Yes. I think it's just because I freshly worked with him, but I think Aaron Oberst would do that really well. And I think, oh my gosh, I've never worked with him, but I have. I was crew, but Jennings Brower, I think he would do that well. There's a lot of guys. I think anyone
Okay.
can play that part, but like someone scrubbly and kind of ruggedy looking, I think.
It always cracks me up when I watch Jennings do verticals because I was on TikTok back in like COVID era 2020
And he was
2021.
famous on TikTok. And he
Yes.
did impressions of like Supernatural and Lucifer, and I got served those. I had a TikTok crush on him, and then I was on set with him. I was like, "Hi, I used to get your TikToks all the time," and he was like, "That's cool," and I was like, "Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That's cringy." And now he and I are friends, but yeah, I was like, I can drive him to the next location, I swear. I was being
That,
a little bit.
that is the whole thing that happened with, I think it's McKenna Grace, where she was writing fanfic for PETA and for like Hunger Games, and somebody told Josh, and they had just worked together on set. And the interviewer's like, yeah, I told Josh about your fanfics or something. And she's
It's
like,
like,
what?
what?
What? I have one that I kind of been wanting to float and write and put out in the vertical space because I think it could be very vertical, but it also could be very like it's very Hallmark. And so essentially these two have been in love in a past life and then they reunite in a present life. But the villain who broke them up in the past life is also the villain again now. And she's trying to keep them apart. And they come across like this like photo album or something that they see all these images of this like these people in this past life and they're like, holy crap, I look like them or something like that. And then they start to get the flashes of those past lives.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like I used to write fanfic when I was younger, but now I'm like, okay, I really want to take this seriously. Like, I really want to write this, even if it's just a fanfic and it doesn't ever get picked up anywhere. Like, I like the story. And I'm just like, but where do I start?
Totally.
Okay, what character have you played or seen that you love the most?
I know we talked about it a lot, but I really loved Haley in Bad Student. Um, there are a lot of shows in general that I loved. Like I really loved Single Mom by Mistake with Ryan, but Elaine, like her as a character, was felt a little more one note. Like she didn't have a lot of growth. Nate and Lucas like grew, and then she was like the calm during the storm during the whole thing. But Haley in Bad Student, like she learns how to be brave in this really cool way and learns how to believe in herself.
Hmm.
And I really loved that she had so much like personality because then I was able to play with some more comedic things and she was a little sassy and she was insecure and I just had so much fun playing her. She's one of my favorites I've ever done is Haley. And then I really liked, it's an oldie, but Delaney Monroe in Fight for Love on Viglu. She had so much strength. And I really liked that she was this lawyer and she was looking out for her ex and that she still loved him and just felt like she couldn't tell him. It was so simple, but I just felt like her story was so beautiful. And so she's always going to be one of my favorites too. I think
I love that.
live with me forever.
What's the biggest challenge about taking on any role?
Um, Man, something for me, and this isn't every role, but like whenever there's any amount of undressing in a script, I'm comfortable with it, but being confident with it is really tough. So like I'm comfortable being in just a bra if that's what makes sense for the story. I always want any amount of undressing to make sense for the plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want it to just be random. But learning to be confident that the shot's gonna look good, and even if I personally don't like it, it's for the audience, and and showing people what bodies look like, and because I want to do that. I know there's a big trend right now of just being thinner is more like on trend, which bodies shouldn't be a trend. Um, and so that for me is very vulnerable to say out loud, but just for me, being comfortable with that is something that's always tough to take on. Not comfortable, but confident in that.
Yeah. I can totally understand that. I see the thinner trend now. It being somebody who watched verticals from I always say like the Midwestern original like type of verticals, that's how I describe it. But like the ones for, and it's not even that long ago. It's like 3 years ago, but
Yeah.
like the ones from like 2023, like Autumn and Casey's. Around that era, like women were thin, yes, but they were like it was like, okay, yeah, she's naturally thin. Like she still has those curves type of aspect. And I saw a lot of differences in women
Which is
versus
beautiful.
now it's sort of given that 90s trend that we used to have with models where it's like they had to be stick thin, and if they weren't stick thin then there was like things, and I'm very much one who has, being the fact that I was curvy as a teen, in my 20s and teens, and then I went through a time point where I'm like, I post photos of it all the time where I'm like, I was a size 10 here and I was 150 pounds. And if you look at me, I look like I'm a size 5 or 6 in that photo. And I'm like, and then going back to where I am now, which my mom and my grandmother were so overtly like, it's your body. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do with it. It's your body. And so I'm very comfortable being curvy because I'm just like, that's just like, I'm used to that. That's my family. That's my dynamics. But I do have that experience of being thin and being curvy. And I always tell women, especially, I'm like, it's a damned if you do situation. It's a damned if you don't. Because when you're curvy, they'll look at you and be like, "Oh, you're so unhealthy. Don't you ever work out? I bet you sit there and eat donuts and junk all day." And that's so far from the truth with me. And then when I was thinner, "Oh, you're so healthy. You're so this." And I'm like, "Look at me. I don't look healthy. I look like I'm sick," or like, especially because I had gotten to my thinnest, which was the size 10, and being tall, that shapes on you differently.
Yeah.
And so I look at myself and I'm like, some of those pictures, I'm like, "Oh my God, I look so thin that I look like I'm sick." And I had people who would ask me, "What happened to you? Are you okay? Did something go wrong? Did you have a surgery?" So you got those questions on either end. And I have an experience of a lot of the bulliness and a lot of the pettiness and cattiness came from older women. And so being the age I am now, like a lot of people would not guess that I'm about to be 41. And so being the age that I am now, a lot of people look at me and they're like, "But you're so sweet to us. Like you're so sweet to," because I won't be that catty woman. I will never be that catty woman to another woman. I'm not going to knock them down. I don't care what their shape is, what they're doing. And in fact, if I catch somebody picking on you for your size, I'm going to be the first one to be like, "Oh, hold up. No, we're not doing that here. I'm going to speak about it."
All I want is, because I know there are plenty of people in this world who naturally are very thin, and plenty of people who naturally carry more weight, and there is nothing wrong with any of it. All I want is for everyone to be happy and confident, and I would love to see that full range. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There are plenty of women in this world who are, yes, are very thin, and then they're like, it's almost like knocked down. Like whenever it's on trend, they're like, "Why should everyone want to be thin?" And they're like, "Well, this is just, I can't put on weight." And then some people on the opposite end who are like, "I can't lose it."
Mhm.
And it's just, yeah, I just want everyone to be happy and healthy and confident.
Yes.
And I think we get better every day.
Yes, I definitely agree. And I'm one of those people that like, I will look at a woman and I'll be like, "Yes, she's thin, but I'm not going to be the one to knock her down for that. I'm not going to be the one to say, hey, like different like types of what women do to each other is like, 'Oh my God, you're so thin. Have you been eating late?'" Like that example, that trope.
Yeah.
And I'm usually very much, but if I see somebody else look at a thin woman and say, and I've heard this, as a vertical fan, I've heard stories where women have literally been told they're fat because they didn't have the right size on set for them.
I've heard
And
some of those stories.
and I'm like, "Oh, hold up, honey, what are you talking about? Like, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful." And so that's where my like older perspective as a woman comes from, is I'm like, like we don't talk that way to women.
Well, and the hard thing is because these are filmed, we're going to talk about girl talk. It's girl talk. So, like, the hard thing about verticals is that they film over the course of a week. So, if that week happens to be the week I'm on my cycle, I'm going to be bloated. I'm going to look different than how I did 2 weeks ago when I sent you my full body slate. I'm going to look, my body is going to look different. That's just how that works.
Yes.
So this has been, being in verticals, honestly, has been a very beautiful journey in loving and learning to love how I look at every phase, because women's bodies fluctuate beautifully, might I add, because that's the way they're biologically like meant to be. So I have been trying to take it as an opportunity to be able to look at myself in every project I've been in, and no matter what, love how I look. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And I want that for every young woman in the world, every woman in the world, everybody.
And I think
Society pushes things too much with that, I think.
yes, and I think with that comes growth, age, olderness comes with that. belief system because there are a lot of young girls out there who are between that age of like 18 to 25 who will be like, oh my God, like, do I need to lose like weight? Do I need to, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, you're beautiful as you are. Like, don't let somebody else tell you how to be
It should be
beautiful.
up to you.
Yes.
Like right now, I'm trying to look more muscular because that's what I want, but I'm not doing that for anybody else.
Yes. I 100% agree. I 100% agree that anything that you do with yourself, your body, anything should always be up to you.
And I still am trying to learn that every day. I think a lot of us are. Everybody is always growing. That's what I
Yes.
do.
There's so much I have had actresses in the community who tell me, you're so honest with your truth. You're so honest with your story. I love how you say that. And then I'm like, girlfriend, do you know how many times a day I get yelled at for my honesty? For being this way? Like, it is not something that a lot of people value. But I cannot structurally wire myself to do what is best for other people. I'm at that point where I've learned so much and grown so much, and I'm like, what's best for me is always what I'm gonna do, even if I lose that person.
Yeah.
Without giving anything away, what's your favorite line of dialogue you've ever delivered?
Oh, this is my favorite line of dialogue. I got cut actually, so this is really unfortunate, but my favorite line of dialogue I've ever delivered is, God also hates when you're a home wrecker. Or no, God also says not to be a home wrecker. It's my favorite line ever.
You ever seen Easy A?
Yes.
Okay, it reminds me of the twat line.
Good. That's my favorite line I've ever delivered. Unfortunately, it did not end up in the final product. I know because I watched it. I was watching for that scene. But it was fun to say, man.
Besides yourself, which actor do you believe is going to blow people away?
Oh, there's so many. I'm gonna say Jace Nielsen because he's my husband and I think he's so talented. And he just hasn't quite had the right part hit for him yet. He has this Austin Butler look to him. He's so handsome. And he's so funny. He's the funniest guy I know. He's got like a Ryan Reynolds kind of humor. I think when he gets the right part, it'll be amazing. But there's so many talented women in this world. And before our project came out, I also would have said Jake Lively because he was in, but then ours came out and he kind of blew up a little bit, which I think is amazing. He totally deserves it. Oh, I know one. Okay. Her name's Bella Chadwick. She was on a project I worked on in September. She played my villain. The actual one itself, it has a bunch of different titles. I don't remember what it ended up going with, but it's some Eris one that I did with Patrick Palkins. The actual project itself didn't like get huge, but she is so talented. So talented. She fully commits to characters and she's gorgeous. And she's been doing more and more verticals. And I think she is someone that she's like, people are going to notice her.
I will definitely recheck that one out then because I like to notice the people who are not to say unnoticeable, but the people who are not quite there yet.
She was the villain. She was the pregnant blonde. Her name is Bella Chadwick. And she is so talented and so beautiful. I love her so much.
That's another thing I think verticals have a really bad habit of is like they like to stick the women in certain categories. So like if you've done villain before, oh, I'm gonna throw you back into villain vertical. And it's so hard to break out of that.
Very.
And I look at so many women and I'm like, I know she's done like 15 dozen leads, but girlfriend can do villain. Like let her have a villain role.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want a mix-up, a mash-up, because I also think that helps you guys grow as actors and actresses too. Besides oh no, what's on the top of your bucket list?
Oh, I don't have much of a bucket list. I oh, right now I want to learn how to surf. I want to go surfing. That's a bucket list thing for me. Um, I would really like to do a project in like London or in Turkey as well. I like working and traveling. I don't do a lot of like traveling for fun, but I really love to travel for my job. I think it's so fun. So I really love that's a
I
bucket list thing.
I know you guys work so hard and like you guys have like 12 to 14 hours like jobs sometimes, and like in the Asian countries it's worse somewhat. But I really think sometimes you guys are missing out on opportunities because you could definitely post like travel blogs and people while you're doing these jobs, and people would be like so like all over that. Um what's your favorite kind of weather?
I love I have two answers. I'm sorry, but I have to say both of them. I love like a perfect 75 and sunny. Like a light breeze where like I can go outside and I can get like a little bit of like a tan and sun and I can walk, but it's not like so hot. Um, and then I just love like a nice warm rainy day. We've had a lot of those in Los Angeles lately, and it's been so lovely because I just love the rain. Um, because I mean it's peaceful. I can curl up with a book and light a candle and do all the things.
Yeah, and you kind of get that Midwest feel with that because like in
Yes.
the Midwest, like 75 is the perfect weather to be out. Like you want to be out during that between that 70 and 75 weather.
Yes.
Everybody's like outdoors.
Yeah, I don't
And
know what. Everyone's walking their dogs, pushing babies on strollers. They're
then,
outside on patios eating food.
yes. And then the other thing is that rain. But for me, the warm weather rain, it has to be just the right kind of rain. Like it has to be that rain that's not exactly heavy, but not exactly light, and it's trickling down, and you're just like, I can imagine myself sitting on one of those old wraparound porches and just listening to the rain fall, and it still be warm outside.
My favorite rainstorm I've ever been in was actually on my project in Vietnam. It was with, so we did, it was when I was shooting Fight for Love, and me and my co-star, Tyler, we had finished, we had wrapped, and we were like, we're just gonna grab a drink real quick after we get done today, and then we'll go back home. So we went to this bar that was like really close to my hotel because they had us at different hotels. So it was close to mine because he didn't want me walking too far on my own, which was nice. Um, but it was like this outdoor patio, and we sat down, and then it started raining, and they ended up so like over us this plastic ceiling like closed us in, and we're sitting there drinking these like hard ciders and eating we were eating chicken feet. He ordered chicken feet. I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, we're gonna try them. I was like, okay. And they were really good, and it was like 90 degrees out and rainy, and it wasn't nice, it's probably 80 by then, but it was like it's nice and warm, and we're just having a little bit of food and drinking before we go to sleep for the next day. And it was just, and the rain was beautiful because it was like this warm lighting, and then all the people were like had their umbrellas and stuff walking on the street.
That reminds me of the festivals in the summertime, like the state fairs, and
Yeah.
just sitting there when they catch the rain just right. And then like you're sitting there and like everybody runs into like the open venue bars and whatnot. And people are still playing music, so you have music going around you, and you're sitting there at the bar just eating like for us it's cream puff, like that's our thing. And eating a cream puff or having a
Okay.
beer or something. Yeah. What types of books do you like to read?
I read a lot of different genres. For me, it's more about the book and less about the genre. But I really like suspense. I like romance, and I like uh, true, like not true crime, but like a crime story, not a murder mystery, but like an investigation kind of thing.
Okay, and then the final question, y'all, and then we will be done. And thank you so much, Shannon. I know sitting here for 2 hours, it's like a lot.
Oh, it's been lovely.
It really has. I've had such a vibe with you. I love this. I want to continue this. Describe your perfect day.
Okay. It was my perfect day. I would want it to be like I wake up, I go and I'm going to the beach. And on my way to the beach, I get a coffee, probably an iced vanilla latte. Just something nice and basic, but it's my favorite, my go-to. And I want to bring my towel and a book. And I go walk along the beach for a while with my coffee. And then I lay down and read. And then it's lunchtime, so me and my friends, I would want all my like best close, like probably my husband, my best friend, at least them two, and then anybody else who wants to join because I like people. Go get lunch somewhere at a restaurant that is on the beach so we can see the water from the restaurant. Then we go back out and we play in the water for a while, work off lunch, and then we go somewhere like a nice like sushi restaurant for dinner. But like I would want something relaxing for my perfect day. It doesn't need to be full of stuff.
That I love that. That's actually a good day. Mine's is usually a good book, a good lunch, and just like I can spend time in a bookstore and then have lunch with you, and then I'm like, yeah, that's like the perfect day.
I'm looking for book recommendations right now, so if you want to send some over to me.
Definitely.
I love reading. I haven't been able to much lately because I've been very blessed with being very busy. I did from October to like December 17th, I did 5 projects. So like end of October to the beginning of December. I feel so blessed because it was I love working and I love my job, but I'm trying to get back into some books while I have some free time.
So do you like audiobooks?
I prefer to read. I like a physical copy. I have my iPad, so I can like download books too.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely can send you recommendations. I was just thinking, like, if you were on like going to set or something, you might dip into an audiobook.
Well, I listen to podcasts on my way to set.
Oh.
I like the Reddit ones where they read Reddit stories and then talk about how dramatic they are. I think those are fun. No, I just got some long flights coming up, so I'm like, I need some books.
Oh no, I have like a whole list. I'll definitely send you some.
Epic.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate this. I had so much fun with you.
Thank you for having me.
FYI, you are now like my longest interview.
Oh, heck yeah. I win. That's my goal.
And then to Wanda Brewer, me and Shannon both Shannon can say hi to you too, but thank you for being here as well and liking the live.
Yes, thank you, Wanda, for being here like the whole time. I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you for asking.
So thank you. Have a great night. Bye, guys.
Bye.